Hey everyone, today is December 9th. It's 3:30 and it's time for the Montana Teacher-Librarian Digital Media Blast. This is Colette Bartow at the Montana Office of Public Instruction, and this is the fourth in the series of Digital Media Blasts just for teacher librarians. Let's hit the ground running here today and let you know that the purpose is to help us share ideas, best practices, and expertise to support each other. This is a short presentation with opportunity for questions and answers through a variety of different venues. And I'm looking for partners. I'm here in Helena, but I have the partnership of the Montana Digital Professional Learning Network. And if any of you are interested in co-hosting or suggesting a topic, I would certainly welcome that and would love to hear from you. So like I said, this is a quick and short presentation and format, but I do want to remind you that as you're watching this broadcast, if you hover over the left side of your screen, you can take a look at links in the showcase, or you can use the question and answer box. Just hover over that left-hand side of the screen, click, and you're set to go. I did see that the question and answer was not working exactly the way that I expected it right before this broadcast. So if that doesn't work for you, then I would like to invite you to either send me an email or I'm a huge fan of using Twitter. Send me a message via Twitter. Just send it to @cbartow. And if you wouldn't mind adding the Montana Ed Chat hashtag, that helps us add your questions and discussion to the ongoing dialogue that is happening with Montana educators from across the state. The topic is, what is your vision and mission? And like I said, go ahead and tweet or send me an email or use the comments or even chat in this Google Hangout to share your questions. As always, this broadcast will be archived. I will be posting a link to the Teacher-librarian Google site, and links are available for that in the showcase or at the end of the presentation, but also to let you know that I'll be collecting 3 or 4 recordings and creating about a 1 OPI renewal unit course that will be available through the Montana Digital Professional Learning Network. So check back at www.mdpln.org and look for that to be coming soon. Our topics, as I said today, what's your vision and mission actually? And I've had a couple of other suggestions about research and inquiry, and potentially have an exciting speaker that will join me in February to talk about deeper learning and the school library. So all of the topics are up for grabs. The dates are set and the time is set, but if you'd like to suggest a topic, you can visit the Montana Teacher-Librarian Google site and use this simple form to propose a topic or a speaker even. So if you'll recall from last time, Ann Eubank, who is at Montana State University, was kind enough to join us to talk about advocacy. And a couple of the things that we talked about really resonated with me. This idea of partnership and the idea that as teacher librarians, we want to build partnerships so that others will act for and with us to support the library program and to ultimately support the critical thinking, problem solving, the love of reading that we want to develop in all of our students. And how we communicate that to those potential partners is, I think, a really important thing to consider, not just to say, oh, I want to build a partnership, but what do we say? What is that critical messaging that has to occur that will draw in those partners to help us act and to build our programs? So with that in mind, I was thinking about what is a vision statement or a mission statement, because that can be a unifying message that we can share with our potential stakeholders that will actually bring them into that partnership. So this information, this kind of definition, is from the school world in general, not necessarily specifically school libraries, but if we're thinking about what a vision and mission statement might be for the school library, we see this definition. The vision is that higher aspiration, where you hope to see the program in the future. And as we think about what your vision is for your school library program, I think we really need to reflect what the school's mission statement is, and find ways to make sure that that school library program supports that. And a mission statement, using this kind of more formal definition, gives the steps or gives an idea about how you're going to act upon that vision in order to deliver that program. Oftentimes, that vision statement is a very concise and easy to recall tagline or phrase. I like to think of that as the t-shirt worthy phrase, or something you can put on a bookmark. And oftentimes a mission statement is that more lengthier explanation of what it is that you're going to do. And I put the word maybe there because, as I have had the experience of working both in schools and with schools and with professionals from across the country, that kind of strict definition of what a vision and mission statement, I think, needs to be taken with a grain of salt. Sometimes it is that vision that we need to hang on to that gives not just that concise and easy statement, but gives us enough of a message that if I am giving the proverbial elevator speech, and thanks to Doug Johnson, who posted a great blog post about elevator speeches today. I have that link in the showcase that you'll see. But how do we take that information that we might give to a board member or our school principal or a teacher that we want to work with, and help draw them into that partnership? And so sometimes a very succinct vision statement isn't enough to get to the hearts and minds. So I want to say that, developing a vision and mission statement, it can be a fairly daunting task in some ways, but it is entirely possible, and I think entirely necessary if we want to build partnerships and to take advantage of advocacy efforts. So I have just a couple of examples, and if you're not familiar with the rebranding and the reimagining of the Flathead County Library systems, I pulled this example because the new name of their system is Imagine If, and that just provides such a rich potential vision of what a library could be. And so in white, you see that Imagine If libraries are places of exploration and discovery. I think you could consider that the vision statement. But we continue on with a little bit more fuller explanation of what they're doing to do that. So they're focusing on hands-on activities, experiences for all ages, working to transform that vision that patrons of the libraries have for what that library can be. Another of the examples that I wanted to bring to you, and if you've looked at the Montana Teacher-librarian Google site, or if you're familiar with the work that has come out of the Washington Library Media Association, they use the LIT statement that establishes what that mission and vision, and really what the things are that school librarians, that teacher librarians need to focus on. So the vision there is that libraries will ensure that all students are effective users and producers of information and ideas. And we're able to deliver on that by really focusing on the essential functions of teaching information and technology literacy, being advocates and creating an atmosphere within a school for reading that goes beyond programs and that, but really establishes reading as a central part, valued part of our students' lives. And then that very critical role of managing information and resources so that all students, all teachers have the access to the information that they need. So those are just two examples that you might look to that are very contemporary. One right from here in Montana with the public library system, but also the LIT statement that comes out of the work of the Washington Library Media Association. But I also wanted to show you something that is very much more close to home here in Montana. And if we even look to our Montana administrative rules, those rules that establish what our program in school libraries should look like, I think we essentially see what is a vision statement and mission statement for our Montana libraries? For the library media program itself, it says, and I think you'll hear echoes back to that lit statement and the statement from the Flathead County Libraries, that that library program is essential to creating independent learners who are efficient consumers and producers of information. You'll definitely hear echoes, those of you who have been around since Information Power, both the 1998 and 1989 editions were established. But you hear that echo of building lifelong learners. And then we go on in our administrative rules to talk about the access to varieties of formats. We look at the partnership with teachers and collaborating to provide information and content instruction. It also talks about access and building skills that students will need in a global society, and definitely fostering that lifelong learning and love of learning that we want students to have in their role as taking responsibility for engagement in a democratic society. So take heart, and I think I continue to be impressed by the work of the crews of teachers who worked on these administrative rules in the late 1990s and early 2000s that had the foresight to include this vision and this mission for our Montana school libraries. Not many states and not all states have really this solid foundation that's established in our Montana rules for defining what that school library needs to be within a school setting. So again, keeping in with my mission to have a quick presentation, I want you to think about these questions, and you'll have access to these slides and the recording certainly. But what is your school's vision and mission? What does that speak to in terms of the focus that you have with the activities, the programs, the services, the resources that the library provides? How does the school library itself reflect that vision and mission? I think it's a critical question to ask too. Who knows your mission? Who needs to know your mission? And then what do you need to do in order to share that? And what I did was I put together a vision and mission action planning template, and that's linked on the Montana Teacher-librarian Google site. But I'd like you to think about those questions as you maybe look at those examples again and do some searches for sample vision and mission statements. But how does this match your school's vision? How do you act upon that mission with the resources and services that you provide? And think about the communication tools too. When I ask who knows your mission and who needs to know your mission, how can you communicate that? Whether it's a newsletter, whether it's signs that you put on the entrance to the library, whether it's something that you put in the teachers' boxes periodically, whether it's something that you share on social media, on your website. This can be a way of really branding and marketing what it is that the school library does for your students and for your teachers. So I think it's important also to recognize that vision and mission can't be created in a vacuum. We can't, as individual librarians or even a district, library staff, sit down and say, this is what our vision and mission is. I really recommend that this is the appropriate time to convene an advisory council. And I use the word council very intentionally because nobody wants to be on another committee. But if we treat this as a council, an advisory council, and convene or at least have the support of your building administrator, some teachers, specialists, paraprofessionals, I think it's really critical to have students and parents to have that conversation around what does the school library mean to them. And out of those conversations, you can begin to craft that very succinct and clear statement about what it is that you want the library to serve and how you're going to be able to deliver on that. As I said, I have an action plan template that includes those questions that you see on the screen, and that's posted on the Montana Teacher-librarian Google site. This is the page and what it looks like. You'll also have a link actually in the showcase if you want to look at that. That goes directly to that document. But this is the place that you can find this information if you want to start to convene your advisory council. And I'm going to check Twitter here really quickly and see if there are any Twitter questions. And I will check the question and answer and see if there are any questions. I don't see any. And I'm going to move ahead here, and I'll check email too here. This is the ultimate in multitasking at the moment. But just to remind you, when we started this series of digital media blasts, one of the first things that we talked about is creating lateral connections. If we want to be able to discuss this more with teacher librarians from around our state, I really encourage joining the school library or Wired Montana listservs. And if you want to be on the school library listserv, just contact me and I can help you with that. I would ask you to also visit the Montana Teacher-librarian Google site. There is a huge wealth of information there, and you can contribute to that site as well by posting your comments or sending links via those comments. It's the more we share, the more not just social capital we build, but the better resources that we build that we can share and help to support each other's practice. The other thing I put a plug in for is the Montana Library Association. The school library division is chaired this year by Nikki Koik from Bozeman, and Dana Carmichael is serving her second year as co-chair from Whitefish. So join that library association. Another thing that I'd bring to your attention is that the 3 Big Ideas newsletter comes from the Content Standards and Instruction group that I work in here at OPI. It has great resources and ideas. And then we've just started a monthly newsletter that is very topical and directed towards teacher leaders and district leaders called One More Thing. So if you want to know more about that, just let me know. And then the other thing is that if you are at all interested in either dabbling or just jumping in full-fledged, the Montana Ed Chat is a Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Twitter chat that continues to be a source of real inspiration and great ideas and resources for Montana educators. So I can give you more information about that if you like too. So this is how you get a hold of me. Send me an email, or like I say, I'm going to check the Twitter feed here and see if there are any questions here. You can always get a hold of me via email, or like I want to share with Twitter, at cbarto is my handle there. So just checking questions again. All right. Well, seeing no questions in the chat right now, with the recording, you can actually join the discussion whether you're watching this live or in the recorded form. I'll be posting a link to the recording on the Montana Teacher-librarian Google site. And then, as I mentioned, when I have 4 recordings put together, I'll put them together as a 1 renewal unit course in the Montana Digital Professional Learning Network. And don't hesitate to be in touch. I look forward to hearing from you, and have wonderful holidays and enjoy those students that we have in our schools. Thanks very much.